Hey everybody, it's Eileen here. I just wanted to show you a quick video tutorial of a cash flow forecasting app that you can use that syncs with QuickBooks. So for those of you who use QuickBooks Online, no matter which version you use, this Cashflow Frog integrates with it. And if you have used QuickBooks Desktop in the past or are using it now, you'll know that there are some forecasting tools available. Unfortunately, QuickBooks Online does not really have many forecasting tools. So this is something that you can use to help you out, specifically in these next several months where it's crucial to get on top of your cash flow. So if you're in QuickBooks, and this is just to pretend like a sample company I set up called Eileen's Design and Staging. If you go to the left, the second from the bottom where it says apps, click on there. In the search bar, type in Cashflow Frog. There it is, with the little frog. You can watch this short video if you want to just kind of explain briefly how it works. And then you click Get App Now. It's a free app. It's one of the only ones I could find that has a free version. So there is an upgraded, I think there's 2 more levels where you can pay to have more features, but for something that's free, just to get you started, if you do not have any other cash flow forecasting tools in place, I highly recommend just trying it out. I think it'll help your business. So I'm going to click out of here because I already do have it in my sample company. So I'm going to click under My Apps, and if you click Action and Launch, it'll bring up this Cashflow Frog. So you can sync it with this button that just turned green. And I already did that, so it's completely up to date with everything that I have in QuickBooks. So the important thing to remember is the phrase GIGO, G-I-G-O, garbage in, garbage out. So if your QuickBooks is not up to date and you are missing deposits or invoices or expenses, then this is going to be garbage. This is not going to be a good tool for you to use. So first things first, you've got to get your books up to date. I will show you back in QuickBooks real quick. On the dashboard area, see this bank account's cash on hand says $1,725. When I did the sync in Cashflow Frog, it's kind of a good double check. See how that brought over the same amount, cash on hand. I don't have a ton of information in my sample company, so that's why there's not bills showing and there's only a couple invoices and things like that. But just for to illustrate how this works, with the free version, I found that you're only able to create one scenario. So apparently if you pay, which I think it's like 20 some dollars a month, if you pay, you would be able to create multiple scenarios for your company's forecast. You also would be able to forecast farther out than 1 month. So the limitations of the free version is right now is April. It's only going to allow you to forecast for May. At the same time, that's not great. We really should be doing, 3 to 6 months forecasts or longer if you're able. But at least this is something to get you started if you're not able to budget in an expense for a forecasting tool. I liked that this had a free option. So within this one scenario that we are allowed, we can add projections to it over here on the right. Projections meaning, what do you estimate your sales are going to be? What do you estimate your expenses are going to be? And from that, Cashflow Frog can put together a cash estimate for your ending balance for the following month. So given that now is April, this will help us look down here, and you can play around with this once you're in it, but see May, and it doesn't go beyond June because I would have to pay to do that. But for a business, particularly in the times that we're in, I highly recommend that you consider at least doing 1 month. And then if you're able to budget in however much this costs, or if you're able to kind of use these tools to help you develop your own spreadsheet offline or something, you really should be forecasting out farther. But for what it's worth, let's kind of look at this. So it has an opening balance. See that $3,825, so $3,825. That's pulling from our ending balance that we closed the month in April. And again, this is a forecast. So based on what I have in QuickBooks, it looks like I'm going to bring in $2,100 based on collected invoices in April. And apparently I only am having a $75 expense in April. So I'm going to end the month with $38.25. The projections that I put in allowed this forecast to pop out showing that I'm going to hopefully close the month of May with $6,600 in cash on hand. The way that you're able to develop these projections is by going back up here and clicking Add Projections. And you can say, okay, I know for sure I'm going to, and keep in mind we're talking about May, I'm going to have a $150 expense for my cell phone that I don't have in QuickBooks yet. It's not showing as an outstanding payable or anything like that. So I'm going to put that in. Let's just say that's vendor 1. And let's see here. We're just going to call it other for now, because it looks like I don't have a ton of things going on to give me options, but typically you don't want to use other, but we'll save that for another lesson. In details, let's put cell phone. Okay, I'm not going to have it repeat, and I'm going to set this to come out on May 8th. And then you can add another projection. Notice how I put the minus sign to make it a negative, and it's kind of this reddish pinkish number. Those are expenses. Use the same field but enter positive numbers if you're trying to show an incoming amount of funds. So I'm going to say, okay, I know that one of my customers is making a deposit for $1,000 and $1,050 for an upcoming project that I was working on. So let's see here. What are my options? Oh, there we go. Accounts receivable. So I'm going to put deposit, not to repeat. Okay, so you get the point. Put in the projections. You can click Add Projections when you're done, and what that will do, I'm going to cancel because I already have some built in here, but it'll pull it into the forecast for the month ahead. You can see it for this graph view. You can play around with this drop down. You could look at it daily. You can look at it monthly, weekly. And it can set the date range as well over here on the right. So if you see where my mouse is hovering over this projections area that says 4 and there's the little pencil, I'm going to click on that. These are the projections I already have in there. You can go back and edit it. So even though this is only allowing you one scenario, you can put multiple ins and outs. So I put in a projection that I'm going to receive $5,000 from customer E, and then I'm going to have rent come out, business insurance, and I'm going to try to make a salary draw as well in May. But again, this helps you know if you're a sole proprietor and you're making, whether you do it as a draw or a salary expense, you know, this is the time where you can see, are you able to take that full draw in May? Or if you have employees, are you able to pay your employees and you, or do you have to take a cut, or how does that going to all work in these coming months? So you can click out of here and you can go down and just play around with these tools. I hope it helps you. Consider getting the upgrade if you feel like that would, you know, if you have no other tools to use, I think this is a good start. There's another app that I saw called Float, Float, that also can integrate and sync with QuickBooks, but unfortunately there's no free version with that, and the first paid plan is at least double the cost of this Cashflow Frog. So depending on what your needs are, depending on how sophisticated your books are and what kind of forecast you're looking for, you know, take that all into account, and I hope that you can find a tool that works for you in your business. Take care and stay safe.